Hi, people out there.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine.
How did you get involved with the Skabour Festival, Gaps?
I think our the guy who designed our first album sleeve, I think he had something to do with it, and due to our latest album, which is coming out on Monday, which is the 4th of September.
Plug it, Gaps.
He had something to do with the artwork as well. So I mean, we were always in contact with him because, as I said, it's 30 years on, and he said he'd like to put something on, and then at the time I think we were going around as a package with the beat, and
Right.
so that's why the beat is playing here tonight as well. So it was booked last year's summer, I think.
Yeah, I
here
came
we
to
are.
see them. last year for the first one because it was the first Skabour Festival last year.
Yeah,
So it's nice to see it growing and
that's right.
changing and becoming bigger than it was.
That's right. That's what we was on about today. Because I mean, when we first started, it was only like selected venues that was accommodating this music. But now it's 30 years on,
Yeah.
and as we were saying a bit earlier in the conversation, because it's 30 years on, it seems to be timeless, and it's always a good thing to be involved in something like that, as
Yeah.
unique as that. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely, because music is universal, isn't it?
that's right. That's
Actually,
right.
I don't think people have to have any kind of particular political views or views about music. Actually, music seems to tie lots of people
That's
together.
right, and brings nations together, and especially when it's a fusion of music. But saying about that, I mean, it's only here in England you'll find such diversity of music.
Really?
Yeah, and that's because we think or we know that England is a multicultural place. Although some people try to play it down.
Yeah.
But with lyrics, we always give people food for thought. We try not to be too ram things down, for want of a better word, down people's throat.
Yeah.
We just like them to think about it, because at the end of the day, each man and woman is responsible for their own actions, aren't they?
Absolutely, and I think we have to bear testimony to that it's about empowerment, actually, isn't it?
That's right.
Music can be about empowerment
Yeah.
for the individual.
Yeah, and anything, once you've got the upper hand, can be an empowerment in it, and a lot of people use it to for their own gain.
Yeah.
But I actually think power is the other way. When you do help the less well off or the less unfortunate, I think that's where the power comes from.
Yeah, definitely.
Because unless you engage with people, then nothing. As a great singer-songwriter said, live for yourself, and you will live. You will live in vain. Live for others. You might live again.
Yeah,
So,
and I think that's absolutely right,
Yeah.
isn't it? Because it's about drawing communities
That's
together, isn't
right,
it? And
yeah.
when you've got people that haven't got very much, or, I mean, for instance, in the 1970s, when there was a lot of sort of social and political unrest,
Yes.
that tends to make people who haven't got very much kind of commune together and
That's
collaborate.
right. That's right. And you go around to a next door neighbour, and he's probably got pot on the fire, and you probably hang around to get some of that, because you probably have very little to eat in your home. But you're absolutely right. I mean, I've lived through that sort of scenario. So I can't quite understand that.
Was that essentially what the two-tone movement was about, do you think? Was it a big part of it? Was this kind of people banding together
Yeah.
with a similar interest?
I mean, what was going on at the time? There was a lot of racial tension, which was quite open, and
Do you think that's changed a lot now? Do you think it's better now?
I do. I honestly do, because I mean, I came from the West Indies when I was a little boy, and I grew all the way through, like, the Teddy Boys and the Skinheads and all the BNPs and
Yeah, which is a big deal, isn't it?
yeah, and so we all tried. Of course, you can't really sort of go out and fight violence in a civilized You have to let the Lord take its own course.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's many things that I can talk about, but you know, I try to put that behind me, just because you know, you can look back and think, and it can really sort of have a deep effect on your life.
Yeah.
And it's just best to forget them and just move on, look forward to the future.
Absolutely, and be living in the moment.
That's right.
And try and embrace it for what it is.
Yes.
And as you say, we are a multicultural country, and so it's about that sense of unity, isn't it? And in diversity, appreciating everybody.
And you know, we've all got to live, and each and every one of us got to live somewhere. We like the nicest things that life can afford or can give us, and you know, and you know, and some people work hard for it, and
I think you've got to as well, haven't you?
That's right. You've got to, you know, because you know, you get nothing for nothing these days.
How do you think your music has grown and changed over the years?
It hasn't changed that much because the rhythm is still there. Of course, you're always searching for other rhythms that you can fuse it with, so you know, and experiment. But we find that what we were doing 30 odd years ago is more or less the same. So it hasn't changed that much. Most of us that was in the first band, we all come from a humble background. We all working class, and you know, it was that same thing that there was no jobs, and so that was our hobby. We would get instruments, and we found that we got better and better at it, and as there was no jobs, and when this came around, we thought we were one of the some of the luckiest people on earth, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
This to happen to us, and it's been great fun, and you know.
So you still appreciate it?
Of course, yeah. I love it more than ever now.
Yeah.
It's great because you know, you think, well, you know, you've done it's 30 years on, and if it's in the public domain and it comes and the public is more less demanding it, then you know that you're doing something that pleases not all of well,
can't
music,
please all the people all the time.
Music
can you?
lovers, lovers, yeah.
And a real testament to the fact that your sound is very timeless, in as much as, you know, what you've just said, that actually you haven't changed your flavour, you haven't changed your style that much. That's kind of remained consistent because it's very much your signature, and it's what Selector's about, isn't
That's
it?
right. That's the way we started. I mean, you know, I was saying earlier on today, this is the music that my parents used to play probably on a Sunday morning after they come from church. They, you know, and then the rice and peas is cooking, and you know, and then Sunday morning it's first day of the week, and you know, so these are sort of music. But living in England or in Europe, and you know, that diversity of music which I mentioned earlier on, as you listen to them, you fuse it together. Because I mean, you know, we've got influence like Otis Redding, James Brown, Santana, you know, and other reggae stars. Probably just coming to the forelight now, like Dennis Brown. And
there's a whole.
There's a bunch of musicians, you know. That's and I'm lucky enough to be exposed to all that. And I think a lot of us who grew up together was exposed to that sort of music. That's why when ska became popular, we thought we'd fuse it together. That's and obviously, Coventry in the community was very small, and there was musicians, black, white, from Morocco, other places, you know, Cuba, you know, but and we would all jam together, you know, but obviously we all grew up more or less in Coventry, and we all knew each other. And there was 14 of us to start off the two-tone thing, the two-tone movement, and you know, well, it's 30 years on, so some members have got lost along the way, but you know, most of us are still in touch with one another.
Absolutely.
It's great to be involved in things like this on the Ska Festival.
Well, we're really lucky to have you here, and I think also really. Going back to what you said about your influences, your direct influences, to actually not only be bringing your own style and your own flavour to Folkestone, but hopefully if you've got a young audience that maybe haven't heard it as well, that they're going to go away and they're going to explore what you may have been influenced by also.
That's right.
You know, so
right.
You're kind of bringing that sound to a whole new generation
That's
as well.
right. Yeah,
Because my 18-year-old son's really into ska and he's really into that whole sort of movement.
Oh, excellent.
And I love that.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's always good to that you sort of have a sort of influence on other people, and you know, I mean, for instance, like when we first touched down in America, they'd never even heard of ska music over there.
Yeah.
And about 10 years later, we went back. There were ska bands all
Really?
all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, and they started having ska festivals and so on. So I think in America, we like to. I think they call us the godfather of ska.
Gaps, thank you so much